So we didn't pay no mind and kept watching the movie, and it happened like 3 or 4 more times, and we all just kind of looked at each other like, what is going on? And he's like, oh yeah, by the way, my house is haunted. I'm like, huh?
I bet if you ask most wives, they would agree that dads are just big kids. And this episode certainly doesn't prove them wrong. 3 dads that I just met, well, 2 dads plus me, 3 dads on this episode discuss ghosts, horror movies, and a myriad of other topics to make what I think is one heck of a fun episode, even if it wasn't 100% like I always do them. And I don't think I mentioned Bigfoot once, but man, it was fun. I can't wait to do another show with these guys. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Caffeinated Cryptid podcast. I'm your host, Bobby Dizzle. See, that's me. Take a moment to hit that subscribe button. Please hit the subscribe button. I used to have a subscribe sign over here, but I don't, so just do it. Please. Share with your friends. Get in on the ground floor. This podcast is about to pop off. This podcast is a caffeinated adventure through the world of cryptids and all aspects of the paranormal, especially Bigfoot, my favorite subject. I don't have to... If you look at my episode list, you'll know. But I also have scientists and different opinions back and forth. It's not just woo-woo all the time. Also, I always have a drink, mostly caffeinated. This is a little cocktail I had myself. I don't think there's any caffeine in it, but most of the time it's very caffeinated and only legal in a couple states. With that being said, my show airs live on YouTube, Sundays and Thursdays, whether live or live premiere. And I'm booked solid for months with a bunch of killer guests. So subscribe so you don't miss a thing. Podcast is on... I'm always on YouTube. I keep saying YouTube. I got Google Podcast. I got iTunes. Spotify, little known app called that. And if you'll just go over to bobbydizzle.com, like you see right here, bobbydizzle.com, you can see all ways to listen, watch, and, just all ways to consume all this content that I'm providing. Also on bobbydizzle.com at the very top of the screen is a place to join the Facebook group. I post a lot of stuff on there. I encourage you to go to bobbydizzle.com and join the Facebook group. Thank you very much. That's Facebook group's very fun. I'm trying to grow it. Talk a lot of smack in there. A lot of my friends who I post on their groups also post in mine. So it's what they call an old tit for tat. But tonight's guests are going to be big in the podcast game very soon as well, as am I. I'm already big. I'm just not in the podcast game. Thanks, processed sugar and carbs. Not only are they paranormal enthusiasts and love a good horror movie, they also offer fatherly advice on their hit podcast, Your Two Dads, on Spotify and iTunes and the other apps just like me. These guys are my new best friends, so y'all show them some love. Cory, Dan, and R.I.P. Sam, who didn't get to attend. All right, we're here with Your Two Dads podcast stars, Cory Lewis, Dan Kinney, and Sam Cavelli, who is having technical difficulties somewhere. Is he in the desert somewhere?
He is in the wilds of Missouri, I think it was.
Yeah, why not think? Oh, there's a dude he looks just like on another show I do named Doc, who is in the desert. That's right. White people all look alike. But these guys are the host of Your Two Dads podcast on Spotify, and are you on any other apps besides that? It's just the one I follow you on.
We're on iTunes and iHeartRadio and Google Podcasts, but we don't really get a lot of listens anywhere except for
YouTube.
Yeah, we're on YouTube. But
all right, I'll put them. They're all going to be in the description nonetheless.
All right.
And I was on their show about 2 weeks ago, and this is a home and away, and probably won't be the last we see of each other anyway because we really get along, which is uncommon for an asshole like me, and I don't care. So, what did Clark Griswold say? The happiest bunch of assholes this side of the nut house. Yeah.
Love me some National Lampoons.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, I'll start off with an icebreaker question. I don't usually do that, but you're not generally a paranormal bunch typically. I mean, you do have a slight, an edge that way. But when you ask the people on every show if they have paranormal experiences, what's been the most interesting one besides mine, of course, that you have heard?
Well, as I usually do on our show, I'm going to let Dan go first.
No, of course you would.
Also, you have to end with a dad joke, and that's a requirement here.
Oh God, dang! I got one. I got one. All right, so fuck that I've heard about or that I've experienced.
No, just from the people you ask. If you have a good one yourself, that's fine too. But I know you ask everybody on your show if you have.
I've actually had one.
Well,
I'm not going to say it's the best that I've ever, that I've heard about or seen or whatever. But anyway, Cory, I think we talked about this on our show. We used to have a buddy. He lived, I don't know, 5 or 6 miles from us at the time. And he had this house and it was haunted, as he called it. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever at first. And then we started hanging out and I started hearing some weird things go on at weird times or all times. And one night, Cory, I don't think you were there for this, but we were all sitting. It was dark out. We had the lights down. We were watching a movie.
All romantic,
Yeah, all romantic. And he had a dog, and we were all downstairs in the living room watching a movie. And all of a sudden, I hear something like coming down the steps. And I looked over at the floor, and it was like little pieces of dog food. And I'm like, dude, what the hell? And he's like, I don't know, man. Did you hear that too? I was like, yeah. He's like, I feed the dog upstairs. She doesn't eat down here. I'm like, okay. So we didn't pay no mind and kept watching the movie. And it happened like 3 or 4 more times. And we all just kind of looked at each other like, what is going on? And he's like, oh, yeah, by the way, my house is haunted. I'm like, huh? So, yeah, it wasn't really an afterthought. It was just we all kind of forgot because we hung out there so much. But he's like, yeah, don't forget, my house is haunted. I'm like, oh, yeah, damn. Okay. So I would assume that, they were messing with us. But, yeah, he's told some pretty wild ones, too, that I've heard. He's kind of like Kramer from Seinfeld. He's one of them out there dudes. I love him to death, or used to. That's no knock on him, but he's kind of out there. But he's told some stories, but I can't remember the whole thing, and I won't do him justice, so I'm going to refrain. But me personally experiencing that's one. I get like people say that like I can feel it. Like people are staring at you. You can feel their eyes looking at you. I've been in houses alone and felt that, like, quickly look around at the door and there's nobody there, but it's like, I swear to God, somebody was standing there, like, staring a hole through me, and it's just me. I've had those. But yeah, I'd say the dog food story is probably my best story.
Yeah, that's not no small potatoes throwing stuff at you.
Yeah.
If it was a Bigfoot story, you'd be on a tour right now. Bigfoot throws something at you, you get to sell merchandise.
And you'll know it too.
It's crazy. Podcast. Oh yeah. When you hear people talk about living in a haunted house, and I talk to a bunch of them, and some of them may be lying, but some of them are just like, I don't want to ever. They'll be like, I don't want to deal with ghosts at all. I'm tired of them. They're annoying. It's got to be like having like a drunk, slovenly alcoholic roommate or something.
Someone that does not care about you at all.
Mm-hmm. And do you ever follow? I just realized I'm doing some legwork for you here. Tony Bruschi, the Real Ghost Stories Online.
No. Not.
That may be, it'd be kind of a big fish and probably hard, but he's a dad, and his wife left him during the height of his fame during COVID, and he moved to a little farm out in Arkansas, and he has the Real Ghost Stories Online podcast is like the largest collection. He has people write in and they'll call in and leave voicemails about their stories. And he's got like the largest database of real ghost stories in the world, just for his Patreon users. But anyway, he's got a co-host, Carol something, who grew up. Well, was it Carol? It was her, his co-host, Carol. Why are my kids fighting right now? Anyway, his co-host, Carol, lived in a haunted house, grew up in one. And she said when they moved away from it, and they pulled away the last day in the wagon, the after school special scene where they pulled away from the neighborhood in the wagon, and the kids are watching out the window. that she saw something go to the window and open the blinds and shut it. And they were all moved out. And the house was haunted. They knew it was haunted. All kinds of shit went on. And years later at a reunion, like 25, 30 years later, she brought it up just sort of in candid. Like, I saw it. And everybody's like, we saw it too. We just never talked about it. It's like, whoo.
No.
I'm driving in the car during the day and I turned the light on and left. I didn't think about that. Tony Bruschi'd be a good, really? It was like, she just got body checked against the wall over here. Tony Bruschi'd be a good guest for you over there on the Dad Show.
I just now bookmarked his webpage, so I'll remember to check him out. I don't know how you know what I'm talking about. You don't know how famous someone actually is. Like they do such a good job. Really.
Yeah, they do such a good job marketing himself. Like I have it's a very professional piece of paper. If you can see.
Oh yeah.
But it's Tony Bruschi's on here. The Real Ghost Stories. I've got TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and TikTok are like my favorite kind of my inspirations in the podcast field and what they do. And like some people have 1,000 on Twitter and 1 million on Instagram. Like I don't understand. And
hey man, I could not make any headway. Instagram was a roadblock to me. I could not make
nothing happen
on Instagram.
It's like, like MySpace came out. I don't know what came before MySpace, but MySpace came out, then Facebook took over, then Twitter took over.
Real life was before MySpace.
Well, yeah, real life. But Facebook took over, Twitter took over, and now it's freaking TikTok and Instagram. They're just the it thing right now, I guess, with those damn kids.
Damn kids. This old man over here.
The most famous person I had on my podcast, her name is Jen Fulweiler. She is a Catholic comedian mom that I used to listen to a lot on the Catholic channel. I was raised Catholic, and I'm a horrible one now. So you can tell I was cradle Catholic by how much I cuss and drink.
Peace be with you.
Yeah, and with your spirit.
Yeah. But I grew up Catholic too.
Oh yeah. Well, they changed it. They didn't tell nobody.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Well, she's really famous. She does a national tour every year. I had her on. And her numbers are Twitter, 39,000. And this is as of 2021, by the way. This is Instagram, 71,000. Facebook, 70,000. YouTube, 5,000. Oh, boy. And TikTok, she has over 1 million likes. I'm like, it doesn't. And I redid it again somewhere here. And just nobody hardly grew any. Like I went back through. Some people lost a few followers or even dropped off apps. I'm like, what? The algorithm is a cruel mistress, and I don't understand it.
I don't either.
And I know me. I got ADHD to a point to where I may be on the spectrum in some way. That I don't care about anything. I don't have a work ethic, other than the fact that I know that if I don't work, my family will starve, and so I work like crazy. It looks like I have a work ethic, but like the moment, like I don't care about work at all. It's the weirdest. I can't describe it. Like you're really like, I'll go to some jobs like, you're really good. You care. I'm like, no, I mean, I was an only child and I'm scared to make the teacher mad. That's my work ethic. Because if I'm scared of all adults that aren't my parents,
I work out of fear.
I do everything out of fear, but if I can make myself to where if I don't accomplish this goal, my family's going to starve. I could move Mount Everest and put it in East Tennessee. And I could do it in about 3 weeks. Just give me the timetable. But if I don't, I can't get to yard mode if there's not a threat. If my wife's just not double hipping it,
Yeah, it must be hard to get up the motivation to do something like that when you need a life or death situation.
It's not nearly as bad as I say it is. I'm just saying, but that's how I feel in my heart. I'm like, I can't. You know how you don't have anything. You've got kids. You don't have any motivation to do anything except, like, sweet mother of God, just be quiet for a second.
Blippi, you love Blippi. Look at Blippi.
Yeah, Blippi.
You feel bad because you don't want to be around your kids for a minute, and then it's just, yeah, it's a weird feeling. But I think if I can try to make this podcast somehow in charge of a bill, like maybe the mortgage, then it's if it ever becomes something I can apply that pressure to, you're going to say you knew me when. But until then, it's pissing me off because I try to make it, but I don't want to like risk losing the house in the meantime.
I mean, you don't necessarily need to gamble the entire house.
No,
But I see where you're coming from. Yeah, I get upset a lot too, as far as like, I know that we're doing something that like is helpful, and I know that we're doing something that is clearly, of a much better quality nowadays than it used to be. And that everybody that's a dad or that's going to be a dad, should be listening and sharing, and they're not, and that's just the reality of it. And I wish that it were different, but I tell myself that if I just keep doing it because I enjoy it, then at least I get that out of it.
Don't stop doing it. Give it up.
Yeah. Somebody I don't know if it might have been you, but somebody said that most podcasts end like around the 6-month mark.
Oh, the pod fade. Yeah.
So we are right around that time frame, and I guess we just got to it doesn't help that we're on a semi break now, because we've got so many episodes like recorded and waiting that we're taking time off to plan after that. So when I'm not doing anything is when I'm like the worst about worrying. I need to be moving like forward in some way.
I would advise, I know I'm not in any way your mentor, but I would advise to not take breaks like that too long. Even though you're all comfortably, I started studying how stand-up comedians get their chops and conversationalize and get their act going, so to speak, how they do it 3 to 4 nights a week. That's why I do this 3 times a week, just so I don't lose even if I'm just recording. Like right now, we're not live. Here's what I was talking about. No, we're live to private.
Yeah. Oh, look at this.
There it is.
Wow. You've already made our podcast look like trash.
And for $1,200 a month, I can make it look better. Here you go. This is the podcast curve. This is kind of what I go to. It's the reason I have 2 to 3 months worth of stuff in the tank. Or at least, I can't think. I have to look. It's usually 2 to 3 months worth of stuff scheduled out and maybe a month's worth in the tank. That way I can, if somebody canceled, I'll be like, oh, whatever. I'll just fire what I had in the chamber, rack on the next person.
Wait, we got to do this for 2 fucking years?
Yeah, this is the funniest part. 768. Whoa, you do the math. Wait just a damn minute.
Oh my God, really? Jesus Christ. I mean, I love helping people, but 2 years, fuck me.
Yeah. I think that I try to get as many people to share as possible. I've noticed even from, I did it for a year or two. I just noticed it's just turned into just a podcasting podcast. Oh, who cares? People listen to this stuff anyway. It'll be fun. We'll get back to the paranormal, but I'll just, I know that when I started off this run of podcasting, I had 42 followers, 43. And that was October 6, 2022. And here it is in July, and I got 350. So
I'd be happy to get 42.
I've noticed that that once I hit 100, it got a little faster. It got to be like 30 a month. And once it hit 200, it got to be like 40 a month. And now it's sitting at about 50 a month.
And what do you, what service do you use to get your numbers from?
That's YouTube Analytics.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you just use the one thing. That would be, that's obviously going to tell you exactly what you're getting, because that's basically the only thing you use.
And I look at the iTunes for podcasters, and I look at the analytics on Google stuff, and I was, and I don't know why I stopped doing it. I put all my stuff on my own webpage, and I still use it. And then, I'll do the live show, which is a premiere if it's not recorded, if it's not shot live. And then like the one I air on Thursday goes live on the iTunes and the audio on Sunday morning. And the one I air on Sunday goes live on iTunes and Spotify on Wednesday morning. And I used to, after they went live on there, I'd put them all on a little web page, then distribute them back out again. And so it got like triple coverage.
I mean,
was that doing that for you? It helped a little.
I have the option of a web page, but I've just never really figured that. It would help at all.
I recommend it, because you don't have to tell anybody your podcast name. You just give them a web page and have everything right there.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I'll have to look.
That's what I always do. I even made here's my web page. It's got everything right there. They get to it.
Oh,
everything they need to know. Everything they need to know.
I mean,
BobbyDizzle.com.
Yeah, like you said, click all this. This is where you need to go.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a little business card. And I printed out. I'll show how it looks on a phone, which is my favorite part. But when it's on a phone, you scroll and it opens up, and it's all like right there. You can't see it. It's all like everything.
Oh, cool.
I printed out business cards that are just. It's a. Let me stop sharing. It's a QR code. One says follow on YouTube. One says follow on the podcast apps. And if there's a code you can put into your YouTube link that whenever you click on it, it makes the person have to choose whether they'll have to subscribe or not before they go forward. So when they click on it, it says subscribe, and they can click cancel, but 9 times out of 10, what are they going to click? Subscribe.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's got me a little ways, but the problem is getting people to click over there.
Yeah.
It's like dang on a little fish bait. None of it's a cheat code, though. That's what makes me mad. I'm trying to find the easy way out. I just got to keep plugging it as the easy way out, and that's what makes me mad. I'm like, there's got to be an easy button.
Yeah, I thought that TikTok was going to be the cheat code, but like I'm getting followers over there, but they don't seem to be following me back over to the podcast.
Well, I mean, if I'm of the opinion that if you get famous anywhere, not famous, but you've achieved clout anywhere, that's what you double down on. I'm not married to doing YouTube or anything. If one thing starts clicking and it's making me, and I can do this, create content, I'm just going to do that.
Yeah, I feel that. I mean,
I was trying to find your TikTok, see how many you had.
I've got, I don't know how many videos, but you were talking about the algorithm earlier. I'm stuck in that TikTok algorithm where they will only show my videos to like 228 people or 232 people or something like that. Like I had one video that had like 40 something likes, but they still only showed it to, I don't know, 250 people.
Yeah. You get like consistently 239 views.
Yeah. Like it's like, it
yeah, mine's like that too.
I don't know how to get through that. I know that a lot of people are arguing about it and complaining about it on Reddit, but about everything on Reddit.
So it's not just me. I'm getting 230 views on everything.
Yeah, it doesn't like because I told my wife, I was like, I could post a TikTok video of me taking a shit, and it's gonna get 219 videos or 219 views, and it seems to be the case. Like I don't know, I'm hoping that as I get more followers, that I'll get more views, but I read about one guy that said he had 10,000 followers and that he's still stuck at like 250 to 350 views. So I have no idea. Like
that's wild. I wish I'd never noticed that.
Yeah. Like for a while there, I was like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm good at TikTok, man.
I'm good.
I post, like, it doesn't matter what I post. Like, I don't know if it's my catchy titles or my fucking handsome face, but I'm killing it. and then it turns out that like, nah, man, we just show this. This is what we show it to. And then when nobody likes you, we stop showing it. And that didn't make me want to kill myself at all. So yeah, you take these things in stride and you just keep grinding.
My stupidest video had the most views.
I've got like, I put I basically cross post everything from TikTok to Facebook to YouTube. And I get like views in the thousands on Facebook. I can actually start tagging like companies and stuff if I want to, because my views have gotten or my videos have gotten so many views. But those same views, on TikTok, straight across the board, 200 something. So it's really like frustrating. What will get you, what's going to get you over the hump. And TikTok, if you're listening, like, yeah, I've got good content, man, or ma'am. Like, give me a chance, TikTok. I really do think I could, help a lot of dads. Just push my stuff out.
I think you have to bow to them in their culture.
I even tried to pay, but it didn't work. If you were wondering,
remember how you had to bow to the emperor, not shake his hand, but didn't.
Yeah,
General MacArthur shook his hand.
I have yet to. Well, of course he did, because he was, America at the time. We had just conquered them and made them our bitches. So of course
we delivered the sun.
Yeah, he's lucky we didn't give him a hug, pat him on the back, and give him a noogie.
Give him a noogie.
I say we.
I just watched Oppenheimer. I kind of want them to do that.
I've heard nothing but good things about that movie, but I'm just my attention span, it just ain't great for movies these days.
I'm a big fan. My favorite thing in the world is going to a movie. Just about.
I will watch like 4 30-minute episodes instead of watching like one movie.
Yep.
Yeah, that movie, that 2 hour, 2.5 movie is too long. Let me watch 19 45-minute episodes.
Yeah,
exactly.
Real fast.
Next thing you know, it's like the next day. But yeah, I don't know. That's just that's my ADD, I guess.
I got home from Oppenheimer and my kids were at my mom's house, and so nobody was at my house. My wife was at a play with her work friends, and nobody was at my house. I'm like, well, what do I do now? I mean, do I take my pants off? You know, what Kevin Hart say? Where the laptop at? Where the laptop at? What am I going to do? But I know I went to a food truck and got some tacos and a big burrito.
Oh man,
and I had to like point to it because they couldn't speak English. So I'm like, this is going to be good.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it's going to be good.
Yeah, buddy.
All of a sudden, I'm like C-3PO, paka paka, whoa. And I get back to the house and I got my tacos and my burrito, and I found a show. I got on Likewise and tried to find a good series to watch. I didn't want to watch Black Mirror because I wasn't in that mood, and I found that show Cabinets of Curiosity.
I've seen
Guillermo del Toro.
I've seen it on, but I've never watched it.
That is a good ass show. It is a straight up horror shows. But it's morbid but it's well written. Like the first one was the first episode was about a Nazi that fled here and had a storage locker where he kept the devil. and the Nazi died, and the guy that bought it, like on Storage Wars or whatever, like goes into this place and all of a sudden he's finding pentagrams and stuff in a hidden chamber and just like, raw, spoiler alert, but that's just a teaser episode.
That sounds like something my wife would love.
Yeah,
it's so good. And they're like an hour long too, so it's not like it's like really quick. You get a chance to like get involved with the story, and then it ends. It's like almost like taking 3/4 of a movie.
I dig horror stuff a little bit, but I never really watch it. I'm always more likely to watch like Three Amigos again, or The Lost Boys again, or The Goonies again, or whatever.
The Goonies, trash movie, and you know it.
Are you somebody else said that? Were you the one that
argued against? That was
me.
Okay.
Okay, I was like, shit. How many people hate the Goonies?
I have a good time with the Goonies thing.
I'm glad to know that it was just the one person that was trashing on my childhood favorite movie.
I love saying that, just ruining people's childhoods real quick.
There's a podcast called Your Favorite Movie Sucks or something like that. And they start off with like a movie that I liked, and then the next movie I liked, and I was like, well, I'm not gonna like listen to a podcast where they just bash everything I like. I'm sure it's like way more popular than our podcast, but it's very particular.
Well, the thing about the Goonies is it applies to every movie. I just do it to the Goonies because it pisses people off. It applies to my favorite movie, Smokey and the Bandit.
You can pick
Smokey and the Bandit, Big
movie.
Yeah, I mean it applies to every movie.
We did talk about that, yeah, Smokey, because you're like, I love Smokey and the Bandit too, and I was like, okay, you're talking about it being your favorite, but you're tearing it down too. It's really hurting me.
You get one Jerry Reed song and Big and Little Enos, and then we're going. That's it. You don't get.
I mean, like I'm like, fuck, that's all you need. You take off with it and run, and you're like, and that's all you get. And I'm like, God, you make me want to cry. Like this is it's one of the
Left
best.
Atlanta back in '63, hauling him a load up in Tennessee. That's all you get.
I think
you
maybe
get hearing about flying down Mount Eagle Mountain.
It seems like it might be more something that would be more popular for Southern people, but having since I am a Southern person, I really don't know how it is up north.
No, and I'll never know. How about those people?
Yeah, I really don't want to know. I went to Philadelphia once, and that was nice, but I don't really have any desire to go any further north than that. I wasn't there for very long.
I took film. I was a film. I say, for lack of a better term, film school back in college. It was basically TV broadcasting with some writing involved. And every movie starts like that. All you do is like you do these like as much creative establishing of the character and stuff without exhibition. And that's the reason they start like that. You don't want to be like, here's a guy who's 6'3". He was raised in San Juan.
I mean, Star Wars,
really?
Starts off like you don't even know what's going on.
Yeah. Star Wars is admittedly the fourth movie in a trilogy.
Well,
whenever George Lucas pitched it, he said it was the fourth one.
Yeah,
like
but
it's always been that way.
Man, my phone is blowing up. I'm gonna have to turn this thing over. Every time I start to say something, it lights up and interrupts me.
You're doing a podcast. You're moving a shaker.
Yeah, I guess. Ever since Glenn made me an admin of the recommendation side, it's like my notifications are blowing up.
Have fun with that.
That's
he wanted me to be on his show tonight. Okay.
Yeah, he actually asked me. He was like, "Are you free tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, you talking about Bobby's show? Because we're gonna be on there."
Yep.
And he's like, "No, I'm at my show." I did tell him though that if I had the time to watch all of the most recent Big Brother, that I would be there tomorrow. But that's dependent on how much time I have. So we'll all find out together whether I'm there or not.
I don't do network shows.
It's not really something I would like. I don't think I could do that every week because I'm not a Big Brother fan. I just watched it with my grandma, like back before the pandemic. And since she just recently died, it has like I guess tangentially it has a kind of a special place for me. But,
yeah, you can do
that. That being said, it's not something I'm willing to commit to long term. I'd like to get back to talking about Big Brother every week. That's not really up my alley.
What's next? The Real World?
I'd probably be more likely.
Vaughn?
I don't really watch reality. I don't really watch TV, to be honest, unless it's cartoons or wrestling. I watch just about all wrestling. But
I was never into wrestling until the pandemic. We couldn't go anywhere. Yeah, and my father-in-law's all into it, and that's the only place we really went. And so we go get pizza. Yeah, and they had remember they had the screens. They had the people.
Yeah.
Oh man. I became a fan of Bailey. And,
I would say I have a near crush on her, but that's it's not close enough to really ever stalk her down and try to meet her.
And The Fiend. I became a fan of Bailey and The Fiend.
Spoiler alert, he's supposed to be coming back soon. For those that are listening to this that maybe wrestling fans themselves.
Didn't he turn good again?
Reasonably good, because he was last feuding with a bad guy, but he got sick again or something, and that ended right before WrestleMania, I think.
We've got a local wrestling troop in the tri-state area, I guess. I think they come up Tennessee, called New South Wrestling.
I've heard of them.
Yep. They're kind of cool, but one of my friends from work was like a founding member. Founding member. And so when they come to town, like I get in backstage, and to be honest, it wasn't until 2021 that I understood exactly what wrestling was. I'm like, what? I mean, why is it fake? I mean, I know it's fake.
Storytelling.
Why is it fake and why do people like it? And then I went to a live show and I was like backstage and meeting the guys afterwards. Oh, this is just a big play they're doing.
Yep.
And it's fun. I'm like, oh, it all made sense. Like I opened up, like my third eye opened. It's like I did DMT. It's like I did ayahuasca for wrestling.
That whatever it takes, we're happy to have you.
Yeah. And now I'm just like, okay, this is just stupid, junky fun that people like to do.
It used to piss me off, but when people used to say it's a man's soap opera, but the older I got, I was like, yeah, it is. Like, I'm pissed at you and I'm going to whip your ass. Like, that's the drama. And, he went to his house and beat him up while he was sleeping. And that's just the drama that men want to see.
Somebody gets hit by a car.
And then, of course, you got the fucking women in nothing, barely anything on. And that plays right to it, too. But,
that's terrible.
Yeah, it's awful.
Yeah, I hate that part myself.
Yeah.
I'd much rather see the men wearing nothing at all.
Yeah. much rather see Goldberg.
Yeah,
He's
Goldberg.
giant.
I will never understand how they wore like the fucking tighty whitey tights. Like, I get they have to be tight for, you know, so you don't get caught on shit, but like do what Shawn Michaels did, like the full pants, or like Brock Lesnar used to wear the shorts, and you know, don't go like tighty whitey underwear, like, you know,
or like John Cena with his
jean shorts, yeah. Or like I've been watching old wrestling, Corey will understand, but like Mr. Ass, how he had that, like the boxer briefs, like they were so fucking tight, and I know that was part of his persona, but I was like, dude, how could you wear that? Like, no,
Mr.
I'm good.
Ass. Billy Gunn,
the one Billy Gunn, excuse me. No, I'm at that point where, yeah, I'm at that point where they made him change his name.
Yeah, wow. I love me some.
See, that's the drama. Like, he lost a match, had to change his name, rebrand himself.
I love badass Billy Gunn.
Yeah, buddy.
I borderline got into it when I was in junior high. Whenever the NWO took over.
Top.
God.
Yeah.
Those were the days.
Hollywood Hulk Hogan were all wearing black clothes.
Yeah, dude. That was the like Mount Everest of wrestling. It's never been quite that cool. Like that was the best. I mean, I've been watching wrestling, you know, from a very early age, and there's not been anything consistently, you know, since the NWO that's really, you know, pushed boundaries like that and changed things.
Notice the adjective play.
Yeah, no. Oh man, that'll never. I'll forget what I ate for dinner tonight, but I'll never forget that man embarrassing himself on live TV. Yeah, I love me some wrestling. We do a little. I don't know how often we'll do it. We may never do it again because it was kind of lame. But we did this thing where we would talk about wrestlers and their sons, like you know, second generation wrestlers, and we would kind of pick which one did better. But it was always like obvious, you know, which one was going to win. Like The Rock is obviously better than his dad, and Ric Flair's obviously better than his daughter, and you know, like it was just really it was never really going to like be any kind of like drama or surprise.
I think the only one that would be the reverse would be like Randy Orton, right?
Yeah, I think you mentioned Randy Orton,
because I mean
that's probably true. Bob was never world champ.
Yeah, he was like more of a tag team, right?
Yeah, I think
with Orndorff.
They may have been tag champs.
Yeah,
but he was definitely never multi-time world champ like Randy was.
And I don't even know if he won like the Intercontinental belt or anything back. I don't even know if it was a thing back then. Well, it was at WrestleMania 3, so
yeah, I don't know. He was with Roddy Piper for a while.
Yeah,
he may have won it then.
Yeah,
but anyway. This is your show.
I'm sitting back here listening, reminiscing. I'll probably have another genre reviewer. I'll just cut this whole part off. Wrestling.
Yeah, we bring all kinds of different facets. We did this one thing where we talked about. We didn't do very many of them, but we were going to review dad movies, like movies, you know, that you would watch with your dad, or that as a dad you would watch with your son or daughter. But we did Taken, and then I watched
Taken.
Yeah, that's like the number one dad movie. And then I watched Big Daddy with Adam Sandler, but we were never able to get back around to, you know, to doing it again. We moved on to our interview series. So maybe
what about Ghost Dad with Bill Cosby.
It's funny you should say that. I'm starting a maybe you could give me an opinion on this. I'm starting that long slow process of making a dad versus dad tournament for TikTok.
Oh yeah, that's going to get a lot of views.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It's going to get all of 232 views.
It's going to get 236 views. Opening weekend.
Do you think old Bill is like? Is it too soon to put him in the dad tournament?
Absolutely not.
I honestly was like, I should really put whatever Huxtable or whatever his name was. I should put him in there. But
definitely.
If I do, I risk him winning it all,
right?
And I don't know. I don't know what that says about the whole thing.
Are you going to do skits for it, or just like a playoff thing, like ESPN?
I'm still trying to plan that part out.
You're gonna
That's
put on
actually
blackface when you're Carl Winslow.
yeah. I will definitely put
Steve,
on blackface.
Steve.
I will put on blackface and I will try to make my lips look bigger because I know that's not racist at all.
Oh my God.
So
Glad this is my show.
I'm planning.
That's your two dads on Spotify.
I'm still trying to decide how to do that part. I don't know if it would be better as something like listing their highlights and then making something as simple as that, and then making or declaring a winner, or if I should show like a clip of each one, because I can't really I've already made my TikTok a business or creator profile or whatever, so I don't know how much I can get away with using a particular
Yeah, I didn't know that was a thing after the fact. I tried to use a song and it's like, you don't have permission. What are you talking about? It's TikTok.
Yeah, I was like, so by making myself like a more business-like profile, I lose access to all these like songs that would make me.
I can't put the Fancy by Iggy Azalea on my video.
Yeah, I actually Googled it to make sure like I had done the right thing, and I was like, no, yeah, for sure. Like the business profile is definitely what you want if you want to broaden your reach and blah blah blah.
That's what they tell you.
Okay, if you say so.
I forgot my ticker. There we go.
Oh, all right. Yeah, check it out. Listen and review. Watch. Share.
Please subscribe.
We're on all formats. Anyways, yeah. So that's how that went one day.
I'm just trying to think about if. Let's just go with some. Two dads as an example. So Peter Griffin, versus Patrick Duffy from Step by Step.
Okay, good.
TV's Patrick Duffy. I can't go a week without mentioning Patrick Duffy.
That's actually a pretty good lineup, because Peter would be a pretty low seed because he's a terrible father, and Patrick Duffy would be a pretty high seed because he was always a pretty good.
Him
father.
And JT beat up a whole gang of bikers just to rescue his daughter.
You've clearly been watching Step by Step a bit more recently than I have.
And him and Cody knew martial arts. He's like, "Wah!"
Cody was in Kickboxer 2, I think it was.
Yeah, I think Cody knew a little bit more than letting it on. He was like a karate kid. He's like, "Whoa, Dana, bro, whoa, little cousin, bro."
Man, TGI Fridays, man, that was those were good times.
If I catch a glimpse of a show that was on TGIF, I start tasting Pizza Hut pizza in my mouth.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Nope.
It's like the reverse olfactory sense.
It probably came with an X-Men comic too.
Yeah, or I never was really into comics.
Unless it
was Ninja Turtles.
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong with Ninja Turtles. But there was I remember that Pizza Hut had a thing where they had X-Men cups or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
They did. Back home, always had the they had the Ninja Turtle cassette tape from their coming out of their shells tour, and you had the little basketballs.
I have no memory of these.
No, I don't either.
How old are you?
Well, Dan's like 25 or something.
Shit, motherfucker, I ain't 25.
Listen to this language. Goodness gracious, I'm going to tell your dad.
Go for it.
That mouth?
No, she's 1,000 miles away.
Ooh.
I am 41. Let me think about it.
Well, hell fire. I'm 39.
Yeah, so I clearly just don't remember what you're talking about.
Yeah, you used to go in there, they have a little basketball the size of a cantaloupe.
Oh, yeah, the little ones. Yeah.
And they had the
ones that were good for virtually nothing.
Oh, yeah, and they died. You always found them in the yard.
Yeah, because they would quickly lose all air pressure.
Then they had a full-size one. They had a full-size one. It was a black street ball, and it had little cartoons of basketball players on it. And they had the commercial was a bunch of kids in the inner city playing on the court, and the ball popped or something. Like, man, we ain't got no ball. What we gonna do? And here come the Pizza Hut gang to do street ball, and it was balling it up. And that's how they sold it. So I had to have that one. I was anything Pizza Hut sold, I took.
That reminds me. It rings a bell, but I definitely didn't have it.
Did you have Cool Cans by Pepsi?
Maybe that's another one that I'm blank on.
Magic Johnson was rapping on it.
Magic Johnson was rapping on it. No,
yeah,
that doesn't. Man, I guess let's just say that my later years have been so foggy that it's hard to see back to those early days.
Oh, it was young MC. That's right.
That's oh man, I was just listening to him the other day, but I can't remember what the song was. I'm really I'm really particular about my music. I like hip hop, but only from the 80s and 90s. I like country, but only from like the 70s to 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I get mad when people don't know stuff about the 80s or the 90s. Like, what do you mean you don't know about the 90s?
Yeah, I mean, come on.
I got a guy at work that was born in 2001, and I just refused to believe
Oh my God.
Like, what? Shut up.
You don't know
Here's
anything,
the street
dude.
ball. Here's a street ball. Look at that bad boy.
Oh yeah, dude. I remember that. Like I said, I never did have it. I lived across the street. I might have had that red one there that I'm pointing at that nobody can see.
Yeah.
But the
little piece of hut balls, man.
The guy across the street from me, he had a basketball goal, so he would always get basketballs of all shapes, or I guess all sizes, because they're all shaped like a ball.
You said of all shapes. I mean,
yeah.
Oh man, I'm hungry as shit now. Get out of here.
The way that
I'm gonna be.
How did that get in here?
I saw somewhere that when they take pictures like that, it's not really cheese; it's glue or something like that.
Yeah, they glue it. They sheetrock glue it to the table and they pull it up.
Yeah. Sad.
Whipped cream is shaving cream in commercials.
Huh.
So it doesn't melt.
And the milk is not milk either.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Horse semen.
Yeah, it's pure horse semen from Seabiscuit.
From
a lot of people don't know that.
One single horse.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's really busy. You wouldn't think that they could. What is happening? This is off the rails, and I'm here for it.
In Hollywood.
That's what we do. That's what we go. That's just what we do.
Yeah.
It's weird because I haven't had a non-paranormal person on here since I went Nishi, so it's kind of weird just to be back in the old podcast feel.
Yeah, we are the most. Well, I mean, we both got, like he had stories. I got a couple stories, but the most paranormal thing about us is our personality and how awkward our podcast goes sometimes.
We've actually been dead since the 1700s.
Yeah, been dead a long time. We're not even here right now. Actually, this is all filled in with your head. This is new AI that Bobby is testing out for Google, and we're just AI avatars.
That's where my favorite bands have gone to.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw one of those. You ever go on the Reddit for the writing prompts?
I have before, yeah.
And I get down TikTok will read them out to you. That's how boring I am. I'll read TikTok narrated with that weird little voice. Like there was one that said that humans were a biological AI built by a really weak species to fight for them. And they came back and gathered up the population to fight an army like 10 million years later or whatever.
Yeah, you'd have to be pretty weak for us to fight for.
They were just blobs. Like they built us because we could do armies in Sparta.
In Sparta.
But that guy just admitted today that aliens are real under oath. The whistleblower.
I heard that it was on video or happening today or whatever, but I didn't watch any of it. I mean, I believed that there were aliens for a long, long time. The only thing that I have questions about is like, why they aren't showing themselves to everybody, or why they haven't, openly made contact. Like, I think that that's the only way that the majority of people, other than me, would believe it, because I think most people are.
Most people are. What gets me is because I get uberly excited about anything like that. Any bear that stands up and somebody gets a sideways shot of, I'm like, "Ooh, what's that?" I've always been like that. I didn't realize it says bad until I started talking to other people like me after doing this show. But yeah, I'm just like, why isn't this not just breaking news on every outlet, like a tornado warning? Aliens, man.
Yeah,
Cha-bra, aliens, bitch.
freaking aliens, bro. Like,
Yeah.
for real aliens.
Science.
I don't know.
Magnets.
I guess if they were getting up there and they're like, it's angels, brother. Angels are visiting us, then, you know, people would be like, oh my God, it's angels. Like,
Yeah.
that's for real.
Maybe they wouldn't.
Or maybe I'm wrong.
I mean, but this guy testifies in front of the Pentagon, the Congress today. I'm just skimming back over it. You know, he knows there's aliens. I'm like, and we're just like, okay. And Barbie made money, brah. The patriarchy, brah.
Barbie made more money than Indiana Jones. We need to.
Barbie made more money
that.
than Oppenheimer, man. Take that, patriarchy, man. It's just because all those girls borrowed money from their dads to go see it.
Yeah, that's why I try to keep my news more local, but they get their news from the bigger places anyway, so it's really hard to know whether I should stick reading news or just drop it out of my life entirely.
I hardly ever listen to news. I listen to Rick and Bubba in the morning, and sometimes if they get too newsy, I'll turn them off.
Yeah, that's
like,
what
I'll be like, I don't want to hear that.
That's how we are. We like, once, you know, if you're like, it's okay if you touch on stuff like that because it's, it's
you have to.
Events. Yeah, but like, don't give me a whole segment about like, I don't insert here. Like, I just, I didn't. If I wanted that, I would turn on, CNN or Fox News or whatever.
I honestly don't want to see gaffes from the president because that's every day and it's boring now. I don't. Whatever president. I mean,
whatever president it is.
I don't have to really pretend where I stand. I mean, anybody hear me say 4 words? Like, yep. But I'm just saying it doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't affect me. I've still got to burn gas.
Yeah.
And I'd rather hear something more entertaining. I'll flip on Pandora in a second.
Yeah, I don't really care who's president, man. I'm poor no matter what. So.
Yep.
Somebody told us Wall Street fell. We would support it. We couldn't tell.
Yeah, that's a good one.
They all lie anyway. So like
doesn't matter whether it's a D or an R, man. They're gonna lie to you.
Yeah, they tell you one thing and do the complete opposite. Both sides. I'm not saying one side or the other, but
I got so mad in 2016. I voted for Gary Johnson.
Man, I can't blame you for that. I can't blame you for that. I was looking at the Libertarian candidate this time, but he looks like
Joe Jorg.
That black dude.
Oh yeah.
Just this. I mean, like, all jokes aside, this man looks like he just got out of the mental institution. Like, he does not look like he needs to be running for president. So it's hard to vote for the independent candidate when they look like they're running out of the crazy house before they get to their interview.
That's not by design either. They're probably in the cahoots a little bit as well.
Probably, yeah. They like it's. I think that sometimes they're just designed like, from one side or the other to draw votes from the other side.
Yep.
It's all a game.
I think the only reason Libertarian hasn't caught on more is because everybody looks at the part that's for the opposing side in libertarianism instead of the fact that it's equal parts everything.
And I think the Libertarians also have it hard because both of the Democrats and the Republicans are going to be bashing on them.
Yeah, they got something for everybody.
Yeah. Like they really do have a lot of, like you said, a lot of things for everybody, but they also have the two main parties.
They have the exact opposite of something for everybody too.
Yeah. And they're
the
more
problem.
than one to point it out.
Yeah.
So
hey, I'll tell people now that think that I'm dyed in the wool like I was in college. I'm like that. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not straight ticket. Not every time. Sometimes I am. Local elections. We'll talk off air. I'm just saying. I'm the gay couple next door needs to be married and guard their marijuana plants with AK-47s. That's my political stance.
Pretty much. Just don't shove it. Just don't shove it down my throat.
Yeah.
Unless it's the marijuana plant, then we'll talk.
Well, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, you don't have to shove that down my throat.
No.
Just light it up and give it to me.
Or just light it up and let me stand around it.
Inhale, exhale. Hell yeah. That's how I think every time. I'm like, and me being Catholic, they always want to put issues down your throat. I'm like, I'd use that as a divining rod to maybe pick which direction to go, but it's not. I'm not going to force someone else to be that way just because, I don't. Honestly,
Yeah,
Yep.
I've always had a problem with even when I was hardcore into church, going regularly. I always had a problem like I guess witnessing or whatever they call it to other people, because especially people that I might think were or I might know were already another religion, because I didn't want to be like, I know better than you.
Yeah.
yeah, it feels weird, especially when you pull back from the what's the word, the hymnal you're looking at, and pull back to 30,000 feet and realize it's all the same thing you're telling each other.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, just stop hating everybody, start loving everybody, and we'll all be good.
Yeah.
That's what they all say, anyways.
I know it like pushed me further away when somebody like tried to shove it. Like I had an aunt that was every time she would see me, she's like, "You need to do this and you need to go to church," and I'm like, "No, f you! Like, don't force me to do it because I'll run away for harder and faster than you'll ever see. But you leave me alone and let me figure stuff out on my own. I might come back or I might come to it."
The only thing I
So
remember is my dad every Sunday morning waking me up. I'm like, I don't want to get up. It's Sunday. And he's like, I'm sorry, you have to get up. And then now I don't have to get up. And I'm like, I'm just not going to get up. And I feel bad. I'm Knights of Columbus. I cook pancakes and fish fries.
Hey,
But
I mean,
it's just, I'm like, my instincts are like, you better go. But no, some of me's like, when it's not Sunday school during the summer, sometimes we just don't do it. I feel terrible about it, but
I guess as
like,
long as you feel bad, that means something.
I don't know. I think if you look at the like, there's a good chance it may all be a bunch of hogwash. You never know. Just like that movie Iron Sky about those Nazis on the moon.
I almost watched that one. I actually started it and then I never went back to it.
They I don't want to spoil it for you then.
Is it good enough to go back to?
I think so. It's good enough to find out why he said it, but one of the generals turned out to be an alien. One of the Nazi generals. And he was talking about how he's been on Earth for millennia and eons. And he saw the Earth as some place that could populate. So he took his two monkeys named Adam and Eve and injected his DNA into them. And from an apple. He gave him an apple with his DNA in it. Two monkeys named Adam and Eve. And that's he was the God person.
That's pretty clever.
So you see something like that, you're like, well, shit, it could have been that. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm like Jon Stewart on Half Baked. Does he have a gun? I don't know, man. I don't know.
We talked about this on one of our episodes briefly, or maybe it wasn't even an episode. Maybe we weren't recording it all. But my version of God comes from Conan. My version.
Oh, Conan the Barbarian or Conan O'Brien?
Conan the Barbarian.
My
version of God is basically Crom. He made the world and then he left it, and he doesn't care if you pray to him because Crom doesn't have time for you, or God. So like a God did make everything we see, humans, animals, the earth, but then he took off, and maybe he made something somewhere else, or whatever God does. I don't know. He's so far above me that I couldn't speculate, but that's what I believe. That's what I believe. So Dan was saying that he believes that God is baby Jesus. I think he said maybe about wearing a tuxedo. I can't recall.
I like my baby Jesus to be singing lead vocals with Leonard Skinner, and I'm in the front row with a tuxedo T-shirt, hammered drunk.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm in the front row, hammered drunk. I always picture God as the.
It says I'm fancy, but I like to party.
Yeah, this bust of Jesus my grandma always had. That's all I ever picture.
I mean, I can see
looking back, it might have been Willie Nelson. Might have been.
I mean, if they both popped up in front of you right now, it'd be hard to tell the difference.
I don't know. That's time of the preacher. I could tell because God wouldn't be hammered.
Actually,
sewed up in a sheet.
Yeah, he wouldn't be stoned. Actually, saying "Blue Skies." I took a voice class in college, and I sang "Blue Skies" as my, I guess my final. Instead of a test, you had to sing. So I sang that, and I didn't cry from embarrassment after. So I guess that's something.
You didn't end it all in the bathroom afterwards, so you made it.
Yeah. and I got an A. What I caught the ball. I made the touchdown. Or what? How I'm referencing a movie that I don't even remember. So that's just how that's how I roll.
I
It's
do
not
know
even a
that.
movie; it's a TV show.
Oh yeah, I do know that prayer does work, despite the nomenclature of thoughts and prayers doesn't work. It's just not like a magic wish. It kind of sets the motion for things to happen.
Well,
And
I could see that. I mean, if nothing else, like if you got other people praying for you, then that opens up options that wouldn't normally have been there.
and there's energy in the universe. I don't really know how it works. I know, you know how if like if you press a button, you're going to get like a piece of candy. You ever seen Lost? You ever seen Lost? And
I have
when
not ever seen Lost.
they get stuck in the polar bear pen, and he found out that if he presses over here and up here, and then he presses this other button, a big dog biscuit flies out of the sky. And he finds out I'm kind of like that with the energy of the universe. I know that if I to get something, I have to like think about it a lot and ask for it, which is prayer, and maybe put a little energy toward it. Helps, he helps those who helps themselves. I know that if I, you kind of just put something in there, and then all of a sudden it's going to happen eventually, or you're going to get something of equal value. Like maybe you don't get the stuff you asked for, but you get what you're meant to have. And I don't know how it works, but I got my fish biscuit most of the time. I tell everybody, so in my life, I've gotten everything I've ever wanted ever in some capacity.
Wow.
And and when I look back on it, it scares me. I'm like, what else can I freaking do? all of a sudden I'm Isabella from Encanto. Like, what else can I do?
I was gonna say you're like Bruce Willis from Unbroken or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
doesn't know he's a superhero.
There's only been a couple of things I've ever wanted I haven't gotten, like a giant farm. That's one thing, which means that's somewhere. I don't know. I do own like an acre now, so that's not.
Yeah, you just got to find that farm. It's waiting for you.
I mean, I've been practicing manifesting a lot lately, and it's been working for the most part. And I know one thing to do if something just really makes you mad that you want really bad, but you don't want to have. You're like, whatever. I'm just tired of it. If it's meant to happen, you do the whole. This is some stereotypical holier than thou Bible camp stuff. I know I'm saying it, but use whatever. I have a feeling however you do it, if you mean the same intention, it's going to work. Put it in God's hands and just forget about it. That works a lot. If it just frustrates the shit out of you. Because one time I was like, I want a way to make $1,000 extra a month to pay off some debts. And I was just like, I'm putting it in God's hands or whatever. I'm putting Dan in God's hands and he comes back.
Oh, I'm still here.
No, I said, I'm going to put this in God's hands and I'll make $1,000 extra a month, whether it's Uber, whether I'm selling my platelets. And sure enough, in about 2.5 months, maybe less than that, I got another job making just a little bit more money. But the payments, the paycheck went to 2 times a month instead of every 2 weeks.
Oh, dude, that's huge.
And it equaled that I grossed or made an extra $1,000 a month.
I don't know. I can't do the math. Like, I'm not the person to explain that. But like, if you get paid, every other week or whatever it is, like, it's so much harder to make ends meet.
Oh, it's
and
stupid.
if you get paid the same amount, like weekly, it's just crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been really forced into a lot of jobs that are that every other week type of thing, and it just it's always really frustrating trying to make ends meet that way.
Well, the only way to make that work is if you have enough in the tank that you can go 3 months off your savings, and when you get that new job that has the 2 weeks, every 2 weeks you put that in savings, then you take your chunk out of the budget every month out of it. And that way it doesn't work. That's the only way I get it to work. Otherwise, I'm just like, oh, every 4 or 5 months, I got this extra $4,000, or whatever, And
I would be down to manifest a little bit extra money. I've been trying to, get ahead on things myself.
It's a weird deal. I started looking at it when I needed stuff to change, and I'm not, it's not like voodoo or anything. It's not like a make a wish, but I think if you will things, basically basically what you want to manifest is you've got a coloring book and it's colored by number and it's a picture of what you want. And you're manifesting is the things you're putting toward it is slowly coloring it in. Like I want a successful podcast and there's a picture of me somewhere with 1 million subs and broadcasting live from Yellowstone Park, in a mobile studio. And I'm just coloring it in. A little bit, one stroke this episode is a little bit of green next to the volcano.
Interesting that your final picture has you in a mobile studio in Yellowstone.
Yep, baked out of my gourd.
That really
next to a grizzly bear.
That says, I mean, I don't know what it says, but that a smarter man than me could like delve into that and really tell the type of person you were from that being your end goal. For me, it just sounds like a good vacation. As long as I still got internet, I gotta have.
Yeah, that's the part. That's the bad part about Yellowstone. There ain't none.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
I'll have to stay. I'll have to get out in West Yellowstone, there in Wyoming.
Yeah, have to stay on the outskirts somewhere.
Yeah, it's kind of like West Yellowstone's like Gatlinburg for people with money.
Right on.
There ain't a lot of crap going on in West Yellowstone that's cheap.
I don't have any money, but I do like Gatlinburg.
Yeah. You like West Yellowstone? They got a good taco truck there. There's now my here. I have another channel, and it is. I started off a long time ago. I had a food blog. They got sort of successful. I mean, it's more successful than the show is now. But I almost got diabetes, and so I had to wrap that one up. Because I was going like some really good places like Day, and sometimes I'd get like a whole free sample of the entire menu. I'm like, I'm going to die.
Wow.
I'm going to die. I'm turning into like Cloudy with a chance of meatballs up in this camp, man. And I turned into it. I lost like 70 pounds on keto, and I've gained a bunch of that back, but a lot of it's muscle now because I started doing jiu-jitsu. But that other channel has like 3,000 followers, I think, maybe 2,600. I still post like random little updates, like still alive. Don't stop following. But one of my main life goals is to get successful enough to stalk hunt a grizzly bear with a bow in Alaska. And I have thought about this since I was in college. I don't know why that's what I want to do, but I'm picturing like the Inuit guide with like a knife. He's clicking a little bit, even though Inuits don't talk like that. Like
I clearly don't know enough about bows to be able to picture the one that you could kill a bear with.
Well, that's just a compound bow, like a Matthews.
So just
kind of like you see,
like they make regular compound bows that are strong enough to like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a hunter called Cam Haynes that's done it. But like I thought about this back in Tuscaloosa, like when I was in college. And they had a big grizzly bear there in one of the big sporting goods stores that was standing. I'm like, I'm going to one day be successful enough to go shoot one of those, not with a gun, with a bow. And ever since then, it's like in the back of my mind, just nagging and scratching like a little bird pecking on the back door. And I'm thinking about since I went through a bout with sciatica at the beginning of the year where I couldn't walk for a couple of days. And like doing my Iron Man Phoenix from the Ashes and like starting like a little show over on that channel where I do like a fitness vlog. It's kind of working my way up to the Operation Grizzly. I don't know.
Right on. Like
I might start it off with 75 hard. Yeah, it'd be fun because it's called Bobby D's Food and Fun.
Well, that'd be the fun part.
Like I got like a full blown keto cookbook over there.
Wow.
Which has good recipes in it, even if you're not keto. Lots of sausage.
I was just about to say that I'll have to point that out to my wife, but I'm not a huge sausage fan, and she does all the cooking. So,
well, I have a keto stroganoff recipe that I really love. You just burn the piss out of mushrooms and onions, and then pour some beef in there and some other stuff. It's good. I got a cast iron breakfast pizza.
Right on.
Like all the recipes in there, I took like my favorite, the best looking recipes off the famous food sites. And I do like you did and write them down in a big list of ingredients and pick the ones that sounded the best and experiment 3 or 4 times, and I'd post it on there for the best result.
Right on.
Little ingredient playoff.
Well, I mean, people
very expensive.
People keep popping up in my TikTok feed showing me different recipes and how to cook them and stuff. So there's definitely a thing for that, like a popular niche or whatever.
It's fun. It's expensive. You can make it, and that's $30 a video easily.
My videos are free, so I'm definitely not going to be able to afford $30 for.
I'm talking about just the ingredients.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, every time you have to buy all that stuff to cook, and like if you're experimenting 3 or 4 different ways.
Mm-hmm. I mean, like I would take it. It'd take about 2 weeks per video.
Damn.
A lot of stuff you can get use again, but some of the stuff like like a steak or chicken, maybe you need an onion or a bell pepper.
Yeah, I mean that's like a job there.
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, I did a lot of them. I can't, but I was doing that over COVID, December when COVID was happening. And it got a lot of reviews, but it never did take off like I thought it would. I'm like, I think this should. Like, I'm kind of pissed off. What I do?
Yeah, well, we never get review. Well, we get a few reviews from our guests. I think it's always our guests that are giving us reviews, but we never get feedback, and we just assume that. Yeah, it's frustrating, but we just assume, and rightfully so, I would say, that everything we do and say is 100% what the viewers or what the listeners want to hear. And that they agree with us wholeheartedly in every way, and so that's
why they don't give you feedback.
Yeah, they don't see any reason to give feedback because we're giving them exactly what they want and need. So I take that as a badge of honor. I jumped into this, just a few months ago, but I'm already nearly perfect at it. With in reaching out to those few listeners that we do have, I've made such a connection that it's almost like we connect soul to soul. And and they just have no reason to complain or to praise us.
I wake up in the morning, I piss excellence. Soul to soul. Yeah, I lost it. Soul to soul.
See, the thing is, wrap it up on that. I'm the best there is.
Damn. I'm the best there is. He was a man. He had a beard.
I actually am looking at my watch. Dan said that he has to end a little.
It's getting close to Dan's bedtime.
So.
At least you didn't have to deal with shit. At least you didn't have to deal with shit in a bathtub, Dan.
I got to go deal with a screaming ass kid.
It's like a floating Nerf football.
Dan's bedtime for Dan used to be a happy time, but now it's just more work. Just another task before the day is actually over. Yeah, I actually asked. I was like, have you tried that? And he's like, oh, that's a slippery slope. And I'm like, no, it's not. You actually just put a funnel in their mouth and pour the melatonin in.
Slippery slope of sleeping 8 hours a night. Fuck me. That sounds terrible.
Blow on their face and try to swallow it.
Yeah.
And then you don't worry about it until the next day.
3.
3? That's not a slippery slope. It's just a.
That's just another alternative.
I just don't want her to get hooked on it. That's all. I have to depend on it. And fuck up her, her chemistry.
I feel you there though. We had a hard time getting Jackson off of the pacifier because I didn't want to break him of it once he had gotten attached to it.
Because there's going to be 3 nights of hell when you do that.
Yeah.
Yep.
We for
sent him to my mom's house and she did it.
Good for
Came
her.
back and she was trained.
Actually, what we did, for anybody that cares, however few of you actually do, we just cut the pacifiers down little by little, so that he stopped getting any joy out of it, and so he just stopped using it.
Like somebody vaping toward the end. That's what's so funny is they can't hold on to it because there's no pressure in there.
Yeah, he would get so mad that he couldn't hold it in his mouth. But finally at one point he took it in the bathroom and he held it out to me and he's like, trash? I was like, yeah, trash, throw it away, and he threw it away.
Yep.
So I wish freaking potty training would be that easy. But we don't got time to get in on that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We're about to wrap it up.
Yeah,
With that note, Dan has to tell a dad joke.
Oh yeah,
then we'll give you Dan's famous dad jokes.
All right. Why do cows wear bells?
Oh man, I feel like I've heard this. I don't know.
Heard it. I can't
you have?
I think I have.
Because their horns don't work.
Oh, honk honk. Their horns don't work.
And that has been your 2 dads on the Caffeinated Cryptid. All their information is in the description.
Yeah, man.
That was fun. Good God. Forgot what I was doing for a minute. I blacked out. Woke up.
And we never even got to my ghost story, so I'll have to come back with that one time.
Oh, that's going to be too bad. You'll have to return.
Yeah.
That's how I'm trapped. Like I left something at your apartment. Now I have to come back.
I moved. I pushed Dan into the lead like it was a haunted house, and then we got off.
Get in there, Dan.
But yeah, next time.
Get in there, bearded man. You're big and strong.
Anytime, really.
Yeah.
Just
No.
let us know. Yeah,
He's bigger than I am.
He just he is more of a man than me. I'm slightly bigger, but his
I just look like it.
yeah, his beard shows that he is much more masculine.
It's the angle. Like looking at the dashboard for somebody who's driving. You're doing 70. It's the angle.
It's not real.
All right, folks. We're gonna end it. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Cory, Dan, and Sam Cavilli, who never did. Rest in peace, Sam. R.I.P. Sam.
We love you, Sam.